It was a long time ago that I read Peter Pan or saw Peter Pan. I think I did both.
I also haven't read it for a long time, but what stayed in my mind that Bendy is the one who is always cautious and who is always taking care of everyone, who is always seeing the big picture and what should be done and what should be taken in control. And Peter Pan is always against everything. So they are like, white and black, this battle.
I don't relate to Peter Pan because Peter Pan is just jumping before he's thinking, and he is playful, daring all the time, but I don't think that he is thinking first. Whereas Wendy then sounds like the more cautious type that kind of reels Wendy in. So we kind of need both Wendy and Peter Pan within us. It's almost like in any type of personalities that we look at, like forget human design for a second. And for those of you who are listening to what we're talking about, human design it's a personality mapping tool. That's the way I call it. Like it gives you a blueprint of who you are. It doesn't really fortune tell in a way.
What I use is this diamond concept, that you are like a diamond and you have those different angles, different sides. Maybe you are not a regular one, you are very curvy, or how to say, with a lot of those perspectives, and you choose what you project on every situation or every conversation or every environment, how you want other people to see you. But it's still you, it's the whole you. You just have those different sides, and it doesn't mean that you switch the hats. You just it relates. You are relatable when you are in different situations, different environments. You just relate differently, but the same you.
I like this analogy, but in your analogy, I have to ask, just for my clarity on how the light is hitting the diamond, is it a rough diamond or is it a cut diamond?
I think there is no right and wrong answer here.
Yeah.
I believe it's how you feel. It's just to be aware that you are not one blank, plain page, that you have those dimensions, and you are a multi-dimensional person. And it's always also, it comes very useful to conversations with people about their brand, how to position themselves, that maybe they are not confident to share their story. And then this diamond comes in help, really, to show that, hey, there is nobody else like you in the whole world. It's just about you deciding what is important for you, what is your next move, next goal, next dream, where are you going, and what kind of conversation you want to build with your audience, with your, with the other person on the other side. And you choose how you twist your diamond and how you show those sides to the other people.
Yeah. So the vision that I get from you talking is the light is the external, which can hit you, and then you refract it anyway, lands on you, and it still comes from your internal essence, but it's just, how prisms work, or how all the different colors, when you put it in a different light, the facets, they create different sheen, light, and you can see more clarity in the diamond based on how you're positioning it. I kind of feel like you're describing that so beautifully, with how the people are the light, and just it bouncing off of you is going to be dependent on how the people are actually coming at you and hitting you. That's when you speak, that's the vision that I kind of got in my mind.
And the magic is that you cannot influence how they see your diamond, right? You just can project it, but then everybody will have their own perception of you and what's good or bad. And the same for you. You shouldn't be worried how other people will perceive you. It's just about you being very mindful of what you want to share, how you want to relate, how you want to connect with other people.
How did you get to the point? I'm assuming you're at the point where you don't really care what other people are thinking. How did you get to that point?
That's so sweet. I kind of feel you are the same.
I didn't get here in an easy way. For me, it took me, I'm 44 right now, I think. Yes. And it's taken me decades. How about you?
Okay, we are not stepping into human design, but what I've learned that this is true. I've done a lot of things, crazy things in my life, in my years before, and then at one point you understand, okay, this is the good thing I will keep with me. This is the thing that I will not repeat, and this is how you learn, by your experience, by your by you living your life. And I think I've always had my own opinion, but I wasn't sure that it's in value to be shared, to be expressed. So at one point, I started to feel that people resonate more to who I am, and that I have this permission by myself. I gave permission to myself to be myself, and because I felt that this is how people truly bond with me, when you are your authentic self.
You will have seen some evidence of this in order for you to actually dare to be more of you. Were you actively seeking this permission? Were you conscious of it, or did you realize it after the fact?
It's a good question. I have an answer, but I think it's a great question for everybody who is listening your podcast. It came to me, I think, after the experiences, when you have the reflection. Yeah, you're analyzing something that happened to you, and then you realize that it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe some business ideas, maybe some relationships, and it shouldn't happen, but it happened, and then you understand, because it was special. It was meant to be. It was because I was who I am, and people chose me, or situations chose me, or experiences came to me because of me letting it happen. So I somehow started to realize that this internal empowerment is the most important one for you to experience life in full color, how to say, and also allow others to feel you and see you, understand you, and relate. But you have to give permission first.
Yeah. And I was just about to highlight that, and I'm so glad you finished on that, because ultimately, even if you're getting the external cues to feel safe enough to be yourself, and I know this isn't precisely what you said, but this is what I think what other people will be feeling, then giving that permission to yourself is going to be the most important thing, because you are the one holding yourself back. No one else is. And when we don't reveal, I think that if we don't reveal our true selves to people, we're not going to be able to reflect the aspects that we really want to show, because we're kind of, if we go back to the diamond analogy, we're not cutting our own facets in the diamond. So let's say there's a rough aspect of it. Rough won't reflect as well. It might just bounce off the surface. But when we actually polish that diamond ourselves, which means that we're working, the analogy I'm working with is that means that we're working with ourselves. We polish that diamond, we make a facet, and that facet is then able to have greater clarity so that the light can bounce through it and refract in a beautiful way. So I think that permission is you just buffing that diamond.
You put it very nicely together, Ivy. Really. How did you discover your potential, your inner strengths, your permissions? How did they came to you?
I think I always knew my own inner strengths. I knew what I was capable of, but I played small for the most of my life. And I think that it's because of societal pressures and conformity. It wasn't, I also didn't believe that my voice mattered, because there are always other people who are smarter, better, and kinder, more generous. Everyone else was, there was always someone else who was better. And I don't necessarily think that I was comparing at this point. It was just me not allowing myself to step into the light that I have to share, and understanding that I too am unique. And I'm not saying I am the best still. I probably have some of those belief systems, but I internally always have believed in myself. I just haven't believed in the ability that I'm allowed to be seen and to show. And that's been a lifelong battle.
I think it's two different things to compare yourself and really give permission to yourself. Yeah, it's very, very important.
We haven't done any introduction. We just launched into the conversations because you and I know each other, Eva. So perhaps at this point, would you like to introduce yourself to the world so that people can get some sort of context?
It's hard to introduce myself. From the personal aspect, I would say that I'm this amateur human being. This is me, like, student for life. For the professional angle, what I've realized clearly that I'm here like a messenger, really deliver message and see people acting on this information. But to be more precise, I'm helping people to learn how to use LinkedIn effectively and share their story with confidence and build awareness, scale trust, and feel happy about them sharing the story, not pushed, but really they understand that there are people who are looking for answers. And when you go out and share, you can really help someone. And you don't have to be an expert, a number one, and the smartest person in the room. But you've been there like 5 minutes ago, and they may be just stepping into this position, and you have this opportunity to share what you have learned, and they will decide to take it or not.
I can testify to your consistency and ability to connect, because the reason that you and I connected was because of your consistent comments on my post, which actually had something to say. I'm like, oh, this person actually read what I wrote and is either contributing to the conversation. And I know that this is what people say on LinkedIn, like the strategy should be contribute, add extra, but it didn't feel like it came from a strategic perspective. It felt like you actually were reading, connecting, and responding. And I paid attention to that. I actually felt like I was getting to know you, and then we went into the DMs, and then eventually we had a coffee chat. And I don't do coffee chats with people. Like I really don't. I don't have time to have every person who asks me every day. I can't say yes to. So I'm obviously choosing the relationships or investing in getting to know me, and I'm like, I'm honoring that. I'm like, Ieva has been showing up. She's just not trying to get something from me. She's building a relationship. How was it from your end? Because that's how I remember us meeting. What was your meeting from your end?
You know, I noticed you out there. I noticed how actually brave you are. And this is what caught my eye, that you are really bravely sharing things, not because you are the smartest girl, but you know that this will help others because you have been there. And this is what caught my eye. Those raw, lived experiences, this is what I'm looking for. And this is how I connect because I'm the same. And that's why for me, it's very easy to stay close because I'm curious. I want to know you more because on the surface level, it already clicked. And then I'm just double checking if it's real. And then when I know that it's real, I'm not going anywhere because I feel it's the same like in real time relationships, not on digital
Yeah.
space, but in real time. How you can, what is the way how you build trust? And I mean, if people imagine that they can, give flowers to their spouse, I don't know, once in a year or brush their teeth once in a month, that there's going to be a result. I think, I mean, the trust is built by consistency of showing up, of showing you care, showing you are there, not just passing by, flashing yourself, but you are here to build relationships which will sustain, that you care about sustaining those relationships and growing them.
I think you've said something really key here, because a lot of my clients at the moment, they're like, reach is really low. Nobody's watching. Nobody is liking. I used to get these many likes and views or reach. And I'm like, you know what? The ones who want to work with you, you're not creating content for today. You're creating and sharing your knowledge, because once they will want to work with you, they're going to check how consistent you are, because through that content, trust is built. Exactly what you were saying, that we're double checking. So you saw something and then you're like, is this for real or is this for show? Essentially, that's what I would be asking. And your consistency in your message and your consistency in how you communicate is being looked at. And when they see that consistency, and they will never like any of your posts, by the way, and they jump into the DMs, they've already done their research. I think that the potent thing is double checking here, because in the digital sphere, especially, anyone can communicate. They're wanting to see whether what you're communicating is actually coming from you or someone else, or you're pretending to be something. And that's where you come in so importantly, I think, Ieva, where that authenticity aspect and making sure that you're showing up, reflecting the stories in a more honest and, I don't know, true kind of way is actually coming through on the platforms that they're communicating on.
And these algorithms. This is
And
funny. Why people think that there is some other magic than us? Because this is human who move algorithms. And why do you need whole world jumping after your posts? Maybe it's not even your business. Maybe it's not even your career goal, you know? And then it's very important to be relevant, at least for one other person, not for
yeah,
hundreds. And we are not, of course, it depends on the business, but then personal brand can really build relationships. And then it's a question, how many relationships can you build and how many relationships can you sustain? And
yeah.
the best part is that people become your ambassadors, that you don't have to sustain millions of relationships. You just sustain quality number of
Yeah.
great bonds, and those people become your ambassadors and they help to spread your message.
I don't think people realize that once you do get a lot of reach, the number of DMs that come through your inboxes, which are just wasting your time. They're not not all of them are potential clients because they're especially, I don't know, that's just how I see it. No one's your client until they say, hey, I want to work with you. But the number of relationships that you're having to sustain in the DMs, it's almost unmanageable. There is something about understanding that sustaining relationships is really time consuming.
Mhm.
So speaking to that one and really focusing on certain individuals and attracting the right people rather than attracting everyone is really should really be the key. And I know I use the word should word, and I really try not to use should, but I really do believe that that is one of the most important things, because I know this because when I do really open messaging, which I do as well, so top of funnel, whatever you want to call it, when I do really open messaging that resonates with a lot of people, that will spur lots of conversations of people who I will never work with because maybe I don't want to work with them, or they're not ready to ever work with me because they're not even in the business. But what I said resonated. Now my DMs and my comments are flooded with people that I'm not sure about are the right people for me. So when you're writing, if you can actually speak to one or two people and that specific profile actually connects with you, you know where to spend your time, and you can sustain those relationships better. Now, I'm not saying that reach isn't great, because obviously you cast a wider net and there'll be more of the few in that. But imagine all those fish you need to throw back into the sea. That's a lot of work and time you're expending somewhere that you may not need to. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, what I've learned from you, actually, from your Instagram stories, and thank you for that, that with the trust comes a big responsibility. And I've seen you sharing that people who want to work with you, they don't come up in the calls. They don't appreciate your time. They mess up with you. And it's just like, wow, you want to work with this person. You have got this chance to be in their DMs, in their calendar, and now you just mess up. And this is like, what's the point, you know? People take very lightly their reputation and they think that it's like it's okay. But I think it's very easy. You lose one great connection and then you have to build from the scratch, but you will never have those doors open for you anymore. You've lost your credit. You know, I think this is very important to understand, that you have to come into the relationships, or it's real or it's digital world, with this mindset of sustainability of the long term, that you cannot come into the relationships and also social media presence with a transactional mindset, because it's very short term vision. people are People are very actually smart. They feel when you are not real, and then when you are not willing to invest, this will pay off to you like big karma points.
So you talked about a reputation. What does that mean to you? How would you define it?
To me, it resonates greatly to the values, how you would love to be approached and treated by others. So I follow this rule. Don't do anything to other person that you wouldn't love to receive by yourself. And reputation is like a puzzle. You collect all the pieces together, and how you behave on the street, how you behave in a shop, are you polite on the road, are you sweet with the people you meet for the first time, how you create your presence on social media, everything combines. It's like all together. It's not separated. It
Yeah.
makes you who you are and how people feel you. It's the same about the diamond, you know. This is the same. This is whole you.
I want to come to human design. This is our bonding point as well, I think, because I mentioned design. I would say that in my journey, in 2015, I was very, very depressed. I was trigger alert. I was suicidal. And I obviously knew deep down inside that I didn't just want to die because I sought out help through the system, which didn't help. And that's kind of how I started off on a more spiritual path, because I have a podcast on this. I won't go into the details of this, and I will link it below. I ended up going to a meditation with someone who was a emotional healer. I had no idea that she was. I just did what anyone. I was so desperate to get better that I just did whatever anyone ever told me to do. So 2015 was probably my journey. How old would I have been? Well, you guys can do the math. I really don't know. But that was my journey of starting to, develop myself and not just work for, to be the best daughter, the best business person, the best employee, because I also was employed at some point. I started thinking about who I am beyond the culture. I'm half Swedish, half Pakistani. The Pakistani side is a very colorful culture, which is also very demanding in how you show up. Reputation is extremely important. I very much had to think about, how does this reflect on my family? Whenever I was in Pakistani cultures, what I say right now reflects on my father. What does that look like, and what does it mean? So really controlled at all times. Same with being half as well. So half Swedish, half Pakistani. I needed to prove that I was Swedish and good enough to be a Swede, and that I was Pakistani as well and good enough to be both. And it wasn't until, I would say maybe, is it 5-6 years ago, I went down the spiritual path, not knowing, in 2015, and started discovering a whole new world of different ways that people are supporting themselves, helping themselves. And about 5-6 years ago, I was in a group where you learned how to do EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. And I didn't realize I was in a space, in a community where there were loads of, I didn't know this existed, witches. They're like, oh, I'm in a coven. Where is your coven? I'm like, what is this? Is this for real? I've seen this on TV. I didn't realize people were actually practicing. And they were just such a diverse group of individuals. And someone talked about human design. I'm like, human and design? That sounds really interesting. I want to do my human design. And Ieva, for the first time ever, I felt seen. I'm like, wow, the way that I am, and I don't think I realized at the moment that that is how I am. I thought I was wrong. The way that I was because I am that way, and that is okay. And I'm like, how can this be? How can I be the way that I am and be okay? It's okay because that is who I am. It blew my mind. So that was my introduction to human design, and we'll come back to reputation, but I want to ask you yours as well. Like, how was your intro to it?
You brought me back to a lot of memories, actually, when you shared about your background. And now from today's eyes, I really understand that when I was a child, I was growing in a very artsy family. My both parents are artists, very colorful personalities. And now I know that both of them were motors, and also my sister was motor. And I didn't feel seen, and I felt,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you explain motor for everyone who's, yeah.
yeah. I would love you to explain later. You are better on that, but I can give my maybe just version of that. Motor means that you have this constant flow of energy where you feel joy, and when you are artist, you feel, you respond to a lot of impulses, and you have joy 24 hours a day. So they were always hustling, working on creative projects. My mom is a fashion designer, my dad is in photography. So it was a lot of creativity, a lot of work, hustling. And my sister is also motor, but I didn't feel as seen. And what I realized now, I felt even competing with them to be seen and always competing for my truth. And this is what I realized. This is the thing. I didn't know that, my purpose is like a design to be different, to support them. Now I have the most magical relationships with my sister. She just calls me from Paris and I'm there for her to support her. My mom, when she wants to go to the park or forest or seaside, I'm there. But on the other times, Yeva, live your life. You are not invited. And so human design came to me, I would say 2 years ago. One of my clients, she brought it to me that she has this tool which helped her to build relationships with her family. She has 3 children and husband, and I was like, okay, what is it? What is it? But it came to me at the same time when I felt I'm not aligned. I was in one project, which was a low ticket project, and it took from me a lot of cold outreach. And I felt that it's not right, but I wasn't listening my body. And then I came to the situation that during 6 months I had 4 major illnesses, and my body was screaming, please stop. And then she came to my life. I started, to see what it is, and I got the answers. You are not supposed to be loud, but it doesn't mean that people don't hear you. They feel you, they see you, but because how you are, but not what you do. And this came to me like like a flash. It was like, wow, I always felt that I just want to be, not to do. And ever since 2 years now, it's been like a beautiful experience to learn myself and see how I can resonate even more harmonious way with the world, but also with my family, with my daughters, support them, and also encourage my partners, my community, and accept also other people who they are, for who they are.
I think people don't know how to accept who they are. They don't see themselves. So we probably have an idea of who we are, but we think, probably how I thought, that that isn't the way we're supposed to be. And maybe similar to my thought, which was, oh, that can't be right. We need to be a certain way. And for me, obviously, that was people pleasing, probably masking. Oh gosh, so many different things. I think it's self-acceptance that is the bigger problem.
Really, like you say, it's foundational.
Yeah.
When you really understand it is what it is, but this is beautiful. And what I don't have, maybe I shouldn't worry about that. It's opportunity for me to see how can I live about it, or where can maybe I just improve, or what can I learn, but maybe more focus on what is already within you and just leverage it.
So going back to reputation, you're saying people are not being honest. When you say honest, how would you define that? With whom?
With themselves. It's more about this being present here and now with you. Is it really what you feel or you don't feel? Do you act from the heart, or just because you are used to act like this? Or you cannot run away from you. And when you are not acting as you feel best for you, you are actually making different decisions and different actions and making other people feel you differently. And I'm not saying that it's the best way people can feel you. So when you come back to yourself and feel who you are, you can really serve better also others.
Words of wisdom right there. Eva, are you open to sharing what your design is? Because I'm about to share mine, but I don't want to out you without your permission.
100%.
I'm like, you didn't share it earlier, so I'm like, maybe you don't want to share it openly. So Eva and I both are projectors of different kinds. And I want to share something that I'm doing at the moment, Eva, and I want your input on this if you don't mind. So as a projector, our strategy is to wait for the invitation, being visible, being seen, and people being ignited by the conversations that we have in public, or just the energy themselves being drawn to you. And then all my clients so far, they have come to me first they have said, hey, I want to work with you. I rarely, no, actually, I'm never the first person to say, hey, I would like to work with you. But yeah, recently I did a thing. I did a thing. Yeah. And you tell me whether I'm mad. So I have 3 businesses actively running at the moment, which I don't talk about. I only talk about the business coaching side on my content, and everything else runs on the down low. We are looking for particular type of clients for one of the marketing. We do immersive marketing essentially. So brand activations, and it's really interesting. We'll talk about that another day. And for that, because I don't have an audience who knows that I'm doing it, I'm basically doing outreach. But obviously, you and I both know that I will never do outreach. So I hired someone. And the person I hired, his name is Dimitar. Some of you will already have loads of messages from Dimitar. He's been brilliant. And I checked his human design, and he's a manifester.
He's allowed to do that.
He's allowed to do that. Okay, so I'll tell you how this worked out. He's like, hey, I can help you. I'm like, look, outreach isn't my thing. But I do need clients for this business because we're branching out into a new need is such a horrible word. It's not, but I want clients of a certain type. I prefer want over need because it kind of means that I'm in control of my desire. So I want clients of a certain kind, and I don't want to do the outreach myself because it doesn't align. And he's like, oh, I'll pretend to be you. I'm like, please don't pretend to be me. He's like, this is the strategy that works. And this is his business, right? He does outreach. So I'm like, but I'm also teaching sales and I know how best to handle this. For the first 3 weeks, I let him be me, and I trained him. I gave him all my values, ethos, and everything. So, and he checked in with me. Are you okay with this response? I'm like, yeah, sure. Just go with it. And then after like the 3rd week, I'm like, look, I'm not feeling comfortable in my own business. This is horrible. And I know this strategy would work for a lot of people, but for me, it doesn't. So can we please just be honest instead? And can you just say who you are? If someone doesn't like the fact that they're using my handle with the team inside it, that's okay. I'll take it. But I would rather just you be you, adhere to my values. So you present the business, but you be you. And I just feel so much better. Like, who cares if I get any clients or not? I just feel so much better that I'm not being so no one is pretending to be me. It's outside of my values to have that kind of level of fakery. But also, I feel better because he's a manifester. Manifestors, I say the only ones that I recommend doing outreach for are manifestors because of their energy, aura, and how they have quite a repelling aura, but at the same time, when a manifestor tells you something, it doesn't repel. Like I don't know how to explain it, but for me, it's like because they have the initiation strategy, they're able to lead and actually advise. Every manifestor I know, they can give unsolicited advice, and people will listen to it. I'm like, I said the same thing. I said the same thing, and you're listening to the manifestor. I don't know. Anyway, so when you hear this, how do you respond from a human design perspective?
I have a nephew and
Yeah.
he's only 16, but he's a 6'2" manifester. And he says, I know that I'm very smart. I don't go to people, they come to me. I was like, if you only knew your design, I was like,
Yeah.
this is already living your design. This is huge.
For the listeners, if you're confused about anything that we're talking about, then just ask the comments and we'll clarify. Both of us will be in the commentary, I'm sure, uh, helping people understand. But at the same time, for the people who are really interested in human design, this would be such a delicious conversation because we're just sharing our perspectives on how and there's no right or wrong, right? We're just sharing our perspectives of living the design and experiencing the design from others.
But Ivy, I just want to elaborate a little bit more on your question. How do I feel about you having this situation with promoting your service and hiring someone else to help you out? I've been in those situations when I promote something and I've felt like there is vacuum around the post. And I was curious how it is possible that really it doesn't resonate with people when I promote something. And this is about that every design should do how they're supposed to be, and then people really feel you the most natural way, and they resonate and they're drawn to you when you do it in a aligned way to you, to your energy.
Can I ask you how you're promoting on these particular posts which have a vacuum, just so I can respond to it?
There's webinar, there's masterclass, and it's like vacuum.
I feel that it's different. So if we look at it from a psychological perspective, people buy differently, all of us. You know, some people hate being told what to do. Other people need to be told what to do. And we're all, or seeking the invitation. So if we look at it from a human design perspective, some people need the invitation to take the step. So when I create very direct sales content, I call them activation posts. When I create activation content, they are very specific to certain buyer types. And I approach it from an energetic perspective of I'm doing what I want. I'm not doing it because you want it. So where I feel there's a vacuum is when I'm performative, when I'm doing something because I should, because this is the strategy that would work, because that's what someone else said. And when there is no vacuum, and I literally say, here, there's a masterclass, this is my program, this is my coaching, whatever it is that I'm doing a direct call out for, I don't have a vacuum. The vacuum only happens when there's no energetic alignment. And I'm doing something because someone said, this is a good strategy, you should do it. And I experiment with strategies because I obviously teach strategies. And I am also a 3-5 in, I'm a 3-5, so I'm experimenting all the time. And I'll be the sacrificial lamb, essentially. I'll be the person who'll go like, oh yeah, I tested this strategy out because I just wanted to make sure that it worked, or what nuances would work. And then I put my human design spin on it and check, well, based on my human design, this wouldn't have worked, but I can see how people responded. Now I can teach the strategy, so to speak.
Your design is super unique. I mean, from the number perspective, 3 means experimenter, and you have to live the things, so you know them afterwards. And 5 is like a leader, but in a tricky way as well, that you put yourself in a situation to help everybody. What I feel what works for me is being in help, always talking about the things that really matter for my audience, and then leaving those cues like, here I have a link, here is something, here is something that you can catch when you are ready and when you want to learn more. Most common thing for me is when people DM me and say, Ieva, I feel you, I like you, I want to work with you, but what you do,
Yeah.
this is the best way.
So have you thought about creating your content, your activation posts, by targeting designs? So if you think about how the project, yeah, you obviously would have, but like the projectors need to be seen, recognized, and invited. And then the generator types, so generator and manifesting generator, they need something to respond to. And what are you wanting them to respond to? And then reflectors, I don't, if they're 2% of the population, so I don't usually speak to them directly ever. And the manifestors, I'm like, I'm not telling you anything. I'm not telling you what to do at all. You know, manifestors are hardest for me to convert. They always say, I want to work with you. And I'm like, I attract so many manifestors. There's something about projector and manifestor relationship, but I'm just like, I can't tell them what to do. They need to just come to me and be ready. And in the past 6 months, I've had at least 15 manifestors come to me. And I'm like, the moment I realize they're manifesting, I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going to go. And I don't know if I'm just becoming too self-conscious at that point and just overthinking it. And then I just kind of just let things go. But I also know that in their time, they will come back to me, because I'm a slow closer. I'm like, look, if you want to come back to me in a year's time and work with me, I'll be here ready, because I'm not leaving my business. My business is here for the long term.
Yeah, people come to me through my content and through referrals mainly. So those are two channels, and also because of my 6, which used to be 3, and then I've made a lot of experiences, a lot of people, a lot of topics are in my past. So a lot of people know me or got the chance, to feel me, so they know, okay, I like Ieva, and this topic is now relevant for me. I'm gonna approach Ieva. So it's different ways how people find us. And the funny thing, for example, recently I had the opportunity to be on a stage and speak for cybersecurity event with the partners from several countries. And then I asked the person, why did you choose me as a speaker? And he said, yeah, but you are always in the park, all those videos when you are in the park. And I was like, what's the relevance, because I connect on a human level, and then those people, they bring me to the corporate world. But just because I resonate to the people, so I have things in my human design how I use my messaging, but it's more about the courage that you can be yourself and you can share your message, and there is need for your message. There is need for you to go out there and put yourself out there, and that's okay. I'm gonna help you. Don't worry, you are not gonna be funny or silly. It's okay to share your story. People need you, and you will help more people. And this is how people find me, not maybe specifically putting my message for the projectors, manifestors, and managers, but they all have something to respond or, to resonate or feel when they're ready.
What is your current obsession?
I love to receive this question, Ivy, when you sent me a note before our call. And I was thinking, in all the ways around myself, but then I recognized that it's not about myself, that I really feel like I'm here for the reason. Now, knowing my design, also living it for the others. But the main thing when I really feel happy, my personal success, is when I feel that there is one person in the room, that they have caught something, and I see their eyes, they're like, their thoughts, they're somewhere outside of the room, they're already in their mind. I see, wow, this is my success. When you feel that people have caught some impulse and they're willing to think about it, it doesn't mean that everybody is going to act on it, but the shift in mindset, that's my win. And this is what, gives me drive when I see people lighting up. Yeah, I could bought this idea. This idea could be something good for me. Yeah, but this resonates to me. You help me to change my mind. You help me to see new perspective. This is like, wow, food by my heart,
Yeah, that's really precious for both, for the receiver and for you. How do you attain that normally?
One of the things that I receive as a feedback is that I communicate with people in very humanly way, like shoulder to shoulder. I'm here next to you. I'm not somewhere up. I'm not the expert or the smartest. I've just had those experiences, I can share you what's bad and good, and also show examples, also ask questions, allow people to be heard, seen, and encourage through examples. It's just taking them on some journey and then allowing them to step out of this journey and have a thought, you know, where I, what was it? How can I use it?
Yeah. Remind me, is your ajna defined?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I have conversations with you, you do this so beautifully. Like you're, I don't know what it is precisely. I haven't been able to put my finger on it, but your perspective is slightly different. We don't think alike. We think similar, I suppose, but like we obviously share very similar values. But your perspective is slightly different, which I really love because I'm like, I like the way that you, for example, even the diamond or the gem analogy, like I've heard this before, but not from your perspective. And there's a twist to it, which I find is the interesting change. People always talk about the way a gem is the way maybe I did about refracting light differently. But you talked about it from how each facet is actually you. And it's a slightly different perspective. And I love that you have that. And those are the conversations that I enjoy. And I feel like you're such a beautiful mirror to people. And I don't know if you see yourself that way, but I think that you mirror very beautifully. And it's not just mirroring, but adding a little bit of je ne sais quoi. Clearly, there's a je ne sais quoi conversation.
Yeah, I call myself Miro many times actually with my partners, that my purpose is just to mirror you. All the value is already within you. You are the magic. I'm just Miro showing you all the magic back. But I wanted to ask you, what is your authority?
I'm a solar plexus, so emotional. And yours?
Self-projected. This is when I
Oh,
speak, is when I feel. That's why my speaking is never prepared, but I speak from my heart, and then I know.
self-projected. My husband is mental,
It's different.
but draws on similarities, I think, but different. I find it difficult to differentiate between the two because I think they show up very similarly, but their use case is slightly different.
From what I've felt,
Yeah.
is that that's not about me knowing what could be indifference with your husband. It's about what I'm feeling. And when I want to vent, for example, I ask my older daughter, could you please listen to me? It's
Yeah.
not that I have to put out my thoughts. It's about I have to structure how I feel about something.
Yeah.
So I come to this final decision conclusion based on what resonates to me, what is aligned.
Yeah.
So it's more about feeling myself. That's why I do recordings, maybe speak on loud when I'm in park. I record myself or just speak. Then I hear myself. Yeah.
There are a few other self-projected projectors that I follow, and they will go on IG Live and they'll just talk. And it's really interesting to listen to because you hear the thought process and you can hear where they're at. And they also say, like, this is my self-projected session. And then they're getting responses on the commentary. I thought that was a really interesting strategy.
I believe interviews like this one, it's very beautiful for us, like two projectors, to ask questions, both of us, and let ourselves like speak. Not only me be a guest, but also you as a host share your story, and then it's two perspectives. And for me, it's interesting to speak, but also to have the conversation, to hear you, so I can resonate, feel, and then give my perspective.
So for you, as someone with your solar plexus or your emotional center open, meaning you are a sponge absorbing other people's emotions, how do you manage your boundaries of your emotional center? Because I imagine it can be quite tough being around someone like myself, for example, when I am at my peak of my emotions, and they could be negative or positive. How do you boundary yourself?
I will share from my everyday life experience. Both of my daughters are emotional authorities. My mom, whom I'm very close on everyday basis, she's emotional authority. My sister is emotional authority, and we have a good chats when she's in park in Paris, I'm park in Riga. But what I've learned, that their emotional peak is not about them. They are just in this situation and they cannot get out of it. And it's not about me, that I shouldn't engage and I should just wait. Just don't engage, don't spend your energy. It's not about you, it's not about them. It's even outside. It's something outside. They will come back, and then you have a normal human conversation. You continue from where you started, but don't act. This is like a pit stop.
That is so wise. What words of wisdom. When I look at my husband and my relationship, so he's open and I'm defined in the solar plexus. And I've had to tell him, I'm like, when I'm emotional, no, when I'm on an emotional high, I'm really upset or angry or any kind of negative peak emotion, all he needs to do is hold my hand to diffuse it. That's all. I don't need talking down. I don't need, I don't need anything except for just physical contact, actually, from him. It won't work with just a random person, but from him, I just need physical contact, because what he does is he feels my emotions. He is not boundaried, and he gets upset, and then, or he gets angry. And I'm just like, whoa, this is not good. We're just amplifying me. Please do not amplify me. I don't need amplification right now.
There's this exercise, or maybe it's not an exercise. It's just a thing you can share with each other. It's like you can teach him to ask you, what do you want me to do now? Like hug you, hear you, or help you? And then you will be able to explain him. Just hug.
He does that now. Yeah. He asked me like, what do you want from me? In a nice way. I'm like, thank you. I just need this. And he's like, okay, great. I can do that.
And it's beautiful that we can share with others whom we really care about how it's better to treat us. And this is also vice versa, that we are willing to learn the other people around us and understand how we can be there for them and support. It goes to private, like family relationships, friend relationships, and also professionally. It really helps.
Ieva, if people want to connect with you, how can they find you?
I would love to connect with you on all social media. Actually, I'm present on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. Those are my everyday channels where I post something or engage with you. And yeah, I'm open to new connections, and then we see where we grow from there, or we don't. That's okay as well. I just wish everybody enjoy this conversation, and maybe stay curious in yourself first, and then in others as well.
I've absolutely loved our conversation. Thank you for coming on the show. I knew we'd have great conversations. I hope everyone else finds that it was as great a conversation as I've enjoyed it. I encourage you all to connect with Ieva. She responds really well. She is exactly who you see right now or listen to right now. And she's a pleasure to know. So I'm really happy that you're in my network. Thank you, Ieva. Thank you for being my friend.
Thank you, Ivy. Thank you, Ivy.
That's it for today's episode of The Creative Flight. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I invite you to leave a review. It really helps more creators find the show. For more insights and behind the scenes content, you can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn. You can also check out my resources on ivymalik.com. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep creating, keep pushing those boundaries, and keep taking flight.